Yep, is everything ready?
Okay,
Good.
Good evening, welcome to today's Borough Council meeting. Calling the council, I'm here, so I don't have to do somersaults coming out here in a few minutes, so that would not be good. Welcome to our Borough Council meeting. I'm calling tonight's meeting to order. Please read the sunshine notice.
Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of 2022 meeting dates was published in the Courier News and Burtonsville News on December 9th, 2021, and posted at the Municipal Complex and the Borough Library. Action may be taken.
Thank you. Please stand for the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman Caminetti?
Here.
Council President Corigliano?
Here.
Councilman Lemma?
Here.
Councilman Sweeney?
Here.
Mayor Skinner?
I'm here. Okay, resolution number 156-22, resolution to appoint police officer Kyle H. McCartney to the Borough PEAPACK and Gladstone Police Department. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
And a second, please.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Councilman Caminetti?
Yes.
Council President Corigliano?
Yes.
Councilman Lemma?
Yes.
Councilwoman, oops, sorry, she's not here. Councilman Sweeney?
Aye.
Okay, congratulations. Now, please step forward, Chief, and whoever's going to do the honors.
The Bible?
Yeah.
Do you have someone you want to hold the Bible?
You have it on?
Yeah, it's right back here.
Right in front. Whoever wants to hold the Bible.
Take a picture? Just don't mark it.
Shall we stand?
Place your right hand on the Bible. And repeat after me. I, Kyle H. McCartney,
I, Kyle H. McCartney,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established in the United States and this state,
and to the governments established in the United States and this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of a police officer.
all the duties of a police officer.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. So welcome to our Borough family. You're starting a great career in a great department, and I can attest to that personally. Chief, do you want to just introduce our new officer?
Kyle comes to us from several short towns that he's worked in over a couple of years. He's a Class 2. He's fully trained and ready to go, so he's starting tomorrow. So we're not giving him any kind of breaks between being sworn in and coming to work tomorrow. Very much looking forward to adding him to our staff. He's going to be a great addition. And he's got a long way to go now, and all the luck to him and the safety to him in these next several years of his career. So we very much looking forward to having him here. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Fire. Sure.
Okay, all right.
Just, let's see. So Nance, I had paused it as people were doing all that, and now I'm trying to unpause it to get it back to record.
Go right back up to,
So I like that to unpause it?
yep.
Oh,
And it says
okay.
recording.
Okay, thank you, sorry.
Did you? Yes.
Okay, all good.
Okay, moving on. And we have one person in the room besides us. Two. All right. Public comments, 5 minutes per person on non-agenda items. It's the policy of the Borough Council that all public comments on an issue shall be limited to 5 minutes per person. Comments pertaining to public hearings, comments should be made on any non-agenda subjects pertaining to borough issues. Comments pertaining to public hearings should be saved for that section of the agenda. There'll be no debating between residents. Comments should be addressed to the mayor and council at the microphone. Gentlemen? Okay, closing the non-agenda public comment section, moving on to old business.
Anybody online?
Oh, is there anybody online? Yeah, thank you. I keep forgetting.
No one has any.
Okay.
There's 2 people, but no one has any comments.
Okay, old business. Seeing none, moving on to new business, public parks, parking regulations.
So Mayor, with your permission, maybe we could combine number 9 and number 10 together?
Sounds good.
And
Go ahead.
Start.
Sure.
Yeah. All right, so Monday, a large cohort of people from the municipality headed down to Liberty Park to do what's deemed the substantial compliance inspection and sign-off. Representatives of Carter Van Dyke was there, as well as Bill Ryden, our municipal engineer, and representatives from D&K. The mayor was present as well. The list of things remaining to be done is really not that onerous. And the question then became, what is the best time to open the park? Because the few remaining items, and I'll go over everything that's still pending, shouldn't materially impact a soft opening of the park. The collective recommendation from the group was that we open the week of July 4th, and we can talk as a council about what day that should be. But let me go over the items that still have to be done, so you're aware of what will and will not be there. And then also talk a little bit about some of the decisions that we have to make. It's not a long list. So in terms of major open items, there's new electric service that we voted on as a change order. The pad is poured, the conduits are in, all the lines are buried for the new fountain electric lines. The only thing we're waiting for is the stainless steel locking cabinet that would go around for the meter. That is backlogged with no estimated time of arrival other than any day now. So it's a bit frustrating, and V&K had said that they're going to start looking to source a similar type of product from another party so that they can get that quickly. Now, what's affected by not having that? The only thing that's materially impacted right now are the fountains in the park. So the fountains, yes, they have an aesthetic value, and it also does something for the algae prevention. You notice the park is stagnant. We've been lucky with no algae blooms, but it's just about starting right now. And those aerators, not aerators, I'm sorry, those fountains going will make a difference. So that is an open issue. We do not know when it will take place. Once the stainless steel cabinet is in place, final wiring is ready, Brad contacts JCP&L, and JCP&L will install the service at their leisure. Could be a day, could be a month, we don't know. So we're looking at some period in the future, we don't know when. The only thing impacted are the fountains, so that wouldn't affect anybody walking through the park. All right, second item, the fencing by the tot lot. Hopefully tomorrow, the fencing will be installed. The fencing has been delivered and is in place there. And it turns out there's actually a crushed gravel entrance path, and they're going to realign that with the gate by the tot lot. So the tot lot will be hopefully up in terms of fencing tomorrow, maybe the day after if it takes them more than one day. And Brad and his team will go in with mulch after that and put the mulch down. The mulch has already been cleared from the old tot lot, so that's ready to go.
Yeah, Brad, one of the things that did come back from the rec commission is some of that stuff could use a good power washing, so maybe that's something you want to do before you put the mulch down.
Yes, and I do have as a topic the tot lot equipment toward the end when we can make decisions. The next issue is the geese. The fencing is having some positive effect, but the number of geese in the park is similar, almost similar to what we had prior to construction. So we're going to try some remediation devices. Nancy, I don't know if you've contacted, or Brad, if you've contacted the company yet to have them.
I did send an email to them yesterday, and I did leave a phone message. I have not heard back from them
Okay,
yet.
so we may have to resort to other methods, but for now, there's nothing more we can do other than to continue to tolerate the geese. And I've spoken with Brad, and he's going to have somebody at the park when it opens up, quite a number of hours maintaining weeding and so on, and we're going to see if they can kind of sweep the path of the goose excrement to keep the walking paths somewhat useful. The next one, just little things, the doggy bag dispensers, we're in the process of ordering right now. We made the decision yesterday, 2, just like last time, they'll be new and use the same bags that we use over in Comline and Rocket Line Meadow. And then the only other items that we have, everything else is done. There's a long punch list of small items. If you've seen, the striping is finished, the paving is finished, the walkway and railings are finished. It looks pretty nice. The lighting is finished and working in the park.
Looks
and it looks beautiful at
Looks
nighttime.
good. Really,
Little
really.
tweaks here and there, but essentially we're good to go. So let me talk about the decisions we have to make, and then the last decision will be when we do the soft opening. All right. So the first decision is the top lot equipment. So we had discussed at a prior council meeting about allocating a sum of money to replace the top lot equipment, and we referred it to the Rec Commission. John, if I'm speaking out of turn, just chime in. The Rec Commission expressed a strong desire not to replace the top lot equipment. They felt that it was usable and it was quite expensive, and to power wash it, but supplement with 1 or 2 or 3 new pieces of equipment there.
And this was coming from the young parents on the commission that utilize the park.
Yes, so I don't have a strong preference on it, but why don't I pause here? So the decisions that we have to make are spend the $100,000 to replace the equipment, or spend a much smaller amount of money to augment the equipment and power wash what's already there. Maybe some touch-up paint on the railing. So thoughts, discussion from anyone?
So John, you said that was from the parents that use the tot lot? Well,
Yes.
whose kids use the tot lot?
Yeah, Jessica Malillo is actually spearheading the subcommittee, and she's got young ones.
Well, that's pretty clear. I mean, if they're saying that they're not
Yeah.
in favor of it, then, you know,
So I
who are
mean,
we to?
you know what, one might say that, not, for them not to be
Yeah.
fiscally responsible.
Nothing precludes us from doing it later, right? It's
I'm
not
not gonna say,
dependent
we
on
can do
anything
that
else.
later. And if for any reason we decide, listen, it could be subject of a whole nother fundraising thing or whatever. You know, we can always think about that going forward, but if there's no urgency to do it now, why
I
do
think
it?
it falls into the category, if it ain't broke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
I'm not in disagreement with what you're all saying, but I think there could be an opportunity to improve it, because the stuff is old and it's not the current state-of-the-art of top lot equipment. Why don't we at least, I see that box that came, which I know is catalogs full of top lot equipment.
It is.
Why don't we at least have that company give us a proposal? Let them do a design. The design may wow us to the point that we want to replace what's there. I don't know, or supplement it. I don't know, but at least let's maybe explore that. route.
I would say we could always get a proposal in the future. I think I'd rather scour the state to see whether there's some grant money out there, for this type of.
Well, I think that company handles that. They actually do the grant
This
search
one?
for you. Yeah, as part of their proposal.
Well, if we have
I
this
was told.
subcommittee on recreation, the people that actually use let's have them sort of suggest that hey, maybe there's this neat thing, or we could improve that, but I mean, why,
Only because I think that these people do top lot equipment all day long, and they would know best how to make it better, if there's an opportunity to make it better at a lower cost. We don't have to do it. I'm just saying,
You mean, start the search now, but we don't have to spring to action.
that's correct. Unless, who knows, they may come and say, look, we have a grant, 50% paid for. We opt to make an improvement. I think that would be.
let's work with that subcommittee on rec.
All right, I'll let Dan know that he's got another box coming to him.
So we're looking for 2 deliverables from them. One would be simply the supplemental equipment that they had referred to the last time. Brad, you'll separately power wash the equipment, and remember those iron pipes that could easily be painted. You can knock it out now. If you could just go ahead and do that in the next week or so, that would be great. There's not a lot of work there.
I'm not saying I disagree with what those members on the rec commission are saying, but if there's an opportunity, who knows? Why not?
Okay.
And John, the second thing then is ask the rec committee if they wouldn't mind asking there are 2 contractors now, they have both catalogs, to come up with a proposal with any grant money they could find for us to look at. When I say us, them and us, but with no urgency or timetable on that.
That's perfect, because, July 4th is almost here, and
Yeah.
the rec commission historically gets pretty dormant during the summer months.
Perfect. So we'll just keep that as a pencil in.
Okay.
All right. The second one is a decision on the lighting in the park. So right now, the sensors are set to go on, and John reminded me I had it backwards, go on at dusk and go off at dawn. Now, The advantage of that is the park is lit up all night long. The disadvantage of that is the park is lit up all night long, and people might think that, they can just go ahead and use it for whatever purposes they want, which might not be in alignment at 3 in the morning that we envisioned. So, part and parcel to that will be the hours of the park and the parking, which was the item number 9, new business ordinance. So bearing all that in mind, what is the council's thought on park opening hours, parking hours, and lighting? And those are the only other decisions we have to make.
Currently, we don't have any hours for any of our parks, correct? I mean, the county does, but that's separate, that's there.
I mean, I would go with it, a dawn to dusk type
Right.
of thing for the park. I mean, because once it gets dark, even with the lighting, I mean, there's a pond there, it's not necessarily safe.
Well, if somebody's walking their dog at 6 o'clock at night in the wintertime, and it's all lit up because we spent all this money for the lighting, is that really so bad? We have those beautiful lights, those post lights, and there are 3 more colonial copper lights, they're called copper, but they're probably not made out of copper, that are going down the old Park Avenue, so that will be pretty well lit.
Maybe we say 6 a.m. to 8 p.m.,
You're talking about park hours,
park hours,
not the lighting.
not the lighting. But, I mean, I think it should be close, it should be.
Why not just make it dawn to dusk?
Well, as Don just pointed out, once we hit winter, dusk comes early when we're on daylight savings time.
I like 6 to 8, it gives people a couple of hours after work.
And you know what, then you're not in a gray area of,
I just don't think it
is the
works
sun
on,
all the way down, or is it not,
I just don't think it works on a day like today where it's light out till almost 9 o'clock and we're gonna kick them out
What do
at
we
8
make it
o'clock.
9 p.m., 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay, all right. So now the second question is the lighting, which can, encourage people to use it beyond those times. Should we match the lighting to that, or should we leave the lighting on longer?
It's all LED, right?
Yes.
I'd say leave it on all night.
Sarge, I forget, Natterer Park, are those lights on in the park all night?
No, they're, well, the ones along the driveway are on.
Right,
tonight.
well, those are the only ones, yeah.
Yeah.
They're on
They're
all night, okay.
I'd say, I would think that we'd want them on all night, just simply because if the police are driving by and then they can see whether somebody's there, they're doing something.
Sergeant, you have any thoughts on it? If we made the hours 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., if the lights should stay on all night, or should be shut off?
I mean, I think that's acceptable. I know, I referenced the county park at Natterer, and they do dawn till dusk, and it's based on, the time in Somerville. And when we do enforcement, we check the time from Somerville, when there's cars in the park, but like, Council President Brianna said, we don't want to kick somebody out at, 6 o'clock at night when it's still light out,
And our park's a little different than Natterer, where you have to go to get to it, where people could be just walking, like you said, they're walking through it. I mean, we don't want them there at 1 o'clock in the morning, but.
The basic is that lighting avoids crime, and
Right.
shutting the lighting down at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, in my view, is not appropriate.
And you know what, if we were to get a lot of complaints on it,
We can change it.
we can address it.
There's no residential around the immediate area of the
There's
park.
some, but
Across the street, but.
But you have the street lights there too, I mean,
But
really.
but the lighting is all such that it's, I mean, I'm not gonna get a phone call from Bill Horton at the top of Highland Avenue about it, I'm hoping.
No, they're all pointing down, they're all low voltage, they're not the brightest.
Okay, all right, so we've made the decision, 6 to 9 p.m. for the hours, 24 hours for the lights, which means we don't have to touch, Brad, the sensor that's already in place, it's controlling it properly. The last piece of this...
Wait, hold on, did I misunderstand, 24 hours lights?
Oh, no, not 24 hours, all night, dusk to dawn.
Yeah, I should point out, before we renovated the park, we had sodium vapor lights in there, which flooded the place with an ugly colored light. These will be a massive improvement in their town.
And then the last piece of this will be, do we want the parking to align with the park hours, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay.
Under our ordinance, all municipal parking lots, you can't park between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. That's another ordinance that we have also.
Right, so the concern, Tom, would be, if somebody's parked there at 1 a.m., it could
If they're
be...
parked there, they're not parking there and walking over to the Gladstone Tavern like they would be at the firehouse.
Yeah, so I think the parking should mirror the
Opening
hours of the
hours,
park.
yeah.
So the park, yeah.
Park
With
opening hours.
sensible exceptions to the general rules if there's some community event. going on.
Right, and typically, if people, are gonna leave their car overnight, they'll call us and.
Of course, sensible exceptions to the general rule.
But what about whoever, if we rent out the park house again, I guess their only parking thing will be the parking by the side, so that's not covered under this, that's the parking for the property.
Correct, as is the parking on Main Street that they would walk to get to the front door of that property.
Right.
So we can
Well, you make a good point.
That would be anchored in the lease, wouldn't it, John?
That would be in the lease, and we could even modify the ordinance at that time. So we could create a carve-out to the ordinance right now, the general ordinance with respect to park hours or municipal property hours, and just add another subsection specifying the parking hours at Liberty Park. And then if we rent out the park house, lease it out, then we can create another carve-out.
Why don't we just put that in there now?
That would go right into the, well, yeah, we could do that. But do we know how many parking spaces will be designated?
Two.
Two?
Because they've already been striped.
So we can specify.
In the park house, yeah, so the two spots at the,
That are directly behind the.
yeah,
For use by the tenant or the
Right.
tenant's invitees.
Right, so there's one other issue at parking before I refuse to you to ask you to write up the appropriate ordinance, is there is a business on Main Street that was a home and now it is a commercial business. It's a exercise studio.
the barn is the business, the home is still the home.
Correct. I was on the land use board as, I think was GP at the time, and the promise from the applicant was that they were gonna make arrangements with the funeral home to park their customers there, and pounding the fist, if anyone parked on the street, she would tell them to fix it and move their car, and that hasn't happened, nor is there a willingness to do that. Now, I don't propose we change the parking regulations on Main Street, because sometimes there is no parking on Main Street because of the customers there. However, I am concerned that those customers will take up the very few parking spots that are in the park, and now, young families mothers can't park there with their young toddlers to get there. So,
Or young fathers.
Or young fathers. So what is the thought about in the parking ordinance having, parking for park use only? So,
I think that's a tougher nut to enforce, but you're at least sending a message.
they have it available to them if it even becomes a problem.
And you're saying the parking that's within Liberty Park?
That is correct.
Not along Main Street?
That is correct, only in Liberty Park. That's all I want to address right now. I'm just thinking of a mother or father coming with 2 or 3 rambunctious young tykes and having to make that trek over to the top lot. If they had to park all the way down Main Street, it's a lot. You've captured those, the park hours, the parking hours, and this was a sample ordinance that Tom Scanlon.
Copy and paste from that.
Yep, thank you.
And then, whenever you're ready, John, just present it to the council for
Okay,
adoption.
that should be pretty quick.
Okay, those were all the decisions that I had. Now,
Okay, I just have one, I just wanted to add, when you were talking about the restrictions regarding if you rented out the park house again, the ordinance for the firehouse exempts people who work at the Gladstone Tavern from the time
Yeah.
limit.
Yeah, those who have permanent parking.
Permits.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's written into that ordinance.
okay. So the last question we have is when to open the park. So we had talked about the week of July 4th, whether we do it on the 4th. We do it on Wednesday, because the 4th is a Monday, or whether we do it on Friday right before the weekend.
This Friday or the Friday of next week?
The Friday of next week.
I didn't answer your email. Sorry, I didn't mean not to,
No,
but, so Nancy came up with a great idea. Why don't you, it's your idea, so.
It was a suggestion that,
Friday, I can't do it, but on the
Right.
8th, but,
but we can do it Wednesday or Thursday night, whatever night works. Have a walk around the park with the mayor. Start, or the mayor, do it with the mayor and council, and we walk around the path of the park, of the pond.
And the other
In the
advantage
park.
is we can
Greg, do you
explain
want
to
the benches in for that, so you can rest?
Might be beating up on you tonight.
wow.
Wow. Rodney Dangerfield.
Nancy, what I like about that is we
Good
can
thing this
explain
is a
to
public
people
meeting.
what's going on.
Right.
You see
And
this
that's-
He wasn't
here
pointing at
because,
That's why I thought it
Big
was a good
time.
idea. And I had sent it to the mayor, and I said, walk with the mayor around the park, walk with the mayor and council around the park.
Sure.
I think
However
mayor
you
and
want to
council,
do it.
yeah.
Love the
And-
idea.
Love
Well,
it.
then I want to make sure.
Let's say,
the Nancy's
let's
ready
say
for that.
Thursday, let's take that.
Friday
extra-
the 8th, you're out?
I'm out, yeah,
Alright,
Oh, you're out Thursday?
no, I'm out Friday.
Alright,
So
so
let's do it
Thursday.
Thursday. All right, so Nancy, will you advertise
That's
that?
if I survive this walk, I might not be going Friday when I'm doing, but.
So Brad, what you have to do prior to that date would be the power washing of the top load equipment and the mulch, right? And then you have a couple of really tiny things on your punch list, including.
That'll be the
moving benches
7th,
back.
Nancy? Thursday the 7th?
Or we can do Wednesday the 6th, whatever works.
Can you move the benches?
I would just offer that a lot of people are traveling, myself included, in the
It'll be
week.
fine.
July
Nobody's
4th,
gonna
traditionally,
walk on
people
the
take
bench.
that as a vacation week. So there may be a lot of residents who normally would want to participate, but are not going to be there for that week.
Well, if I survive the first walk, we could do another one the following week.
Every week.
That's true, yeah.
And if you could put, apparently you gotta put oxygen bottles around the park for me, so,
So what do you guys think about?
Maybe a
this?
defibrillator?
Special
Yeah, and a defibrillator.
Time-wise, 7 PM, this way people coming from work can
Yeah.
come down?
sure.
Okay, 7 PM Thursday.
I don't know, it might be a little late for me.
That's okay.
All right, so look, that's all I have. Mayor, I think you would think the park looked pretty good
Yes.
in most respects.
Yeah.
There are some problems that we will address over time. And right now, I don't want to get ahead of that. Right now, I want to get the park finished up. But we're pretty darn close, and I think that I'm seeing leaps and bounds in improvements and items off the punch list. You have 7 things right now, so I think we're in good shape. Just, the geese, the
Yeah.
star geese. Brad, also make sure, starting when we do the soft opening, that you have somebody in the park, assuming that V&K is handing over the park by that date. I have to see George tomorrow to confirm that he'll be ready. He had told me Friday this week he'll be ready, but I'm giving him 2 extra days. And with your permission, there was a lot of chatter on Nextdoor when I had posted an explanation of the park and what was going on, and explaining things in a very positive way. So I'm going to post something on Nextdoor, Liberty Park update, with just some general items.
And if anybody does show up to the walking around the park, when we open it, we can explain the, high-vis fencing and why that's there, why it's gotta stay there and stuff.
Yeah, yes. Okay. All right, thank you.
Don, how's the watering? You said they were falling short of the water. I drove past, looked like a lot of withering.
Yeah, the watering is one of the issues that is a problem. And the vendor is responsible for watering it for 1 year. So I suspect we're going to have some issues later on, but I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Related to that, and I forget, I mean, I was part of when we did that, the ordinances that, or the regulations that we have, including Natterar, are the county park commission. Do we list out what their rules and regulations are, or is it just, like, I know other towns, when I worked for the park commission, just had it very simple. We will adopt the regulations at the time.
Yes, the borough adopted the county rules and regulations.
I know we did that, but do we spell out what their rules and regulations are?
Yeah, we've got it.
So do we want to maybe just change that? Because if they change their regulations, then we have to change our ordinance. But if we change our ordinance now, just to mirror that, whatever the Parks Commission publishes, can we do that?
We can
I
do
mean,
that.
not tonight.
I'm in the process. Our codification company has done an analysis of our code book, and they have come back to me with 256 questions of changes and things that, I actually
257
tonight-
now.
tonight I was going through
Okay.
some of that I need to talk to John about some of it before I bring
knew
it
was
back.
heading this way.
Yes. So out of all of that, we can make that change at that time. We can put in and tell them that we want to change it to read just the,
We adopt
rules and
the rules and
regulations.
regulations of the Park
Right.
Commission, because that way, if they change them, then we don't have to keep changing our
yeah,
ordinance.
we
It's
don't
just-
have to do a separate ordinance to
Right.
do that right now. We can make that change through that, because at the end, once all of this is done, we will do a resolution that will
Okay.
adopt the whole
Okay.
new book with the changes in it.
Just since we were talking about park regulations,
Right.
just morphed into it. All right, anything else on the park? Great job. I know it's a pain doing all that you've been doing, but it's it's obviously showing great progress, and we're going to be
Thank you,
there.
Mayor.
Well done,
Habit
Don.
Burgers is markup.
He was up to 5, but he paid me 3 yesterday, so we're down to 2.
So we're going
He paid you 3 all at once?
Well, we did a
I
Texas
traded him a
Roadhouse
dinner for 3 burgers.
for 3 burgers.
So we're looking to shoot for the Thursday?
Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday, July
7
7th.
Okay, yep, okay.
The weather's supposed to be nice.
Right, okay. So that's that for new business and miscellaneous approvals and discussions. Well, covered the park reopening under that. Anything else for miscellaneous discussion?
I have one more.
Okay, so I figured
I
it's
have
gonna be.
a brief discussion. I'm presenting this on behalf of Amy and myself, and Meg Walters might be dialed in.
She
In
is.
fact, she is. I see her initials. Hi, Meg. So after much back and forth with sign companies and plans and different options, we finally came down with a recommendation for the council for replacement signage into the town. And this is it. This right here. So this is going to be now all in polycarbonate or PVC, so it will last much longer than our existing peeling signs, and our signs are in very, very, very rough shape where they are, as you all know. So what this sign does is it takes our existing logo, we put our tagline under it, it says entering at the top. The center of it, where you see the logo, will be vinyl because of its complexity. The letters entering a welcome community, and I believe the border will be routed into the plastic and with a color, so it'll have some dimension as well as the raised design in the middle. Okay? And this little picture on the side here just gives an idea from a profile standpoint what that raised section will look like. Okay? And just giving you an idea, on the right side, this is what the sign would look like coming into town. The price that we got includes new posts, which are 6x6 wood with a poly PVC sleeve, so they won't peel anymore either. They'll be permanently white.
Mark, on the Far Hills sign, that's a wood sign where it looks like the Far Hills is etched into
That's
it.
actually plastic.
Is that plastic?
Yes, that is.
But it looks like an indentation and then painted.
And that's exactly what ours would be like. But if you notice, the logo is not. The logo is PVC. And Meg put this up here to give us an idea what the manufacturing process would make our signs look like. Okay, and by the way, that sign was done by the same company who gave us the lowest bid. So they would be the same people doing it. Now, we are proposing, Amy and I are proposing that we increase the number of signs we currently have. We only have, I believe, 3 that are up. There might have been more at one time.
We've got Main Street coming in from that Naderar.
Yeah,
We've got Pottersville coming in, and
Correct.
Old Chester Road.
yeah.
I
And think
always thought we should have it on.
Well, then there's 4, because we have one on Holland.
Actually, Holland and Mendham.
There's one on Holland also.
There's one on.
Mendham also.
So-
One on Willow?
My house.
There's not one on Willow.
Oh,
So,
one on Willow.
well, that's what we're proposing. 7 of them. Maine, Holland, Old Chester, Mendham, Willow, Mosley, and Pottersville.
Yeah, all the entrances in the.
All the entrances into the town.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
that's what we want.
These signs, as a kit, which means it's gonna be up to Brad and his team to install them. Not very difficult, it's really essentially putting a post into the ground. The low price we got on these was about $1,400 each.
Wait, each?
Yes,
Each.
yes. And I bought signs for my properties, and I think that's a very reasonable
The
price.
sign across the street, the Green Acres sign, is done from the same company that they got on here, and that was $1,200.
But the size of that sign is vastly larger than these.
But you don't have the
You don't have
artwork,
the color.
You don't have the color and the artwork on it.
green and white.
Well, you have a little bit of artwork, but that's only the
And
same.
this is all under state contract.
No, these are local bids that we got from sign companies. There's no
So it
contract.
was a bid situation then?
Yeah. No, not a bid, not a competitive bid, we got quotes. Okay? Moving on. We are also proposing to replace the sign down in front of our municipal building. And essentially the same type of construction, the same design. We modified the logo slightly, and we would be reusing the existing posts, which would have to be rehabilitated They're in good shape, but they need to be painted and some trim placed on them. And this sign here is a double-sided sign. The other ones are all single-sided. So this would be the sign that would go down in front of the building here. This sign, because it's two-sided and because of its thickness and it's pretty large. Let me just move down a little bit. This is 52 inches tall by 71 wide, 59 wide. And this sign here is a bit more expensive. I believe this one came in at about $4,000.
So are there more signs or just this, other than there's one outside back here?
We did not consider replacing that one.
So I have not on the sign itself, but on the sign in front of the building. I guess this will probably be my last time to push this because I'm off the council next year. I really think we should get, and not to make it like futuristic, but I think an electronic sign in the front of the municipal building on Main Street would be advantageous, that we can put announcements, we can put things, messages that we need to get out. Because I think the problem that we have, and not so much about council meetings, we have a council meeting this night or whatever, but just in general, like, the more avenues of meeting that we can get something out, the better, because people, I don't read Nextdoor, I'm not on Nextdoor, I don't read the website, I don't do this, I don't do that. But if people probably once a day are driving by the municipal building in one direction or another, and I used the example years ago, I was visiting a friend in Caldwell, not that it matters where, but they had the electronic message signs up saying that they had a boil water issue with their water. So go to my friend's house, and there's a note in the mailbox, which she didn't see, and she was actually making dinner. I'm like, oh, did you see the notice boards and this letter? No, I didn't. So, and that was she drove by the signs too, but didn't see it. So the point of that is, like, people sometimes just don't get the message. So the more ways we can put out something, the better off we are. So I think everybody drives by Main Street, or most people do at some point. So if we had it, we could change the message. Yes, we'd have to approve what goes on there, and we wouldn't put just anything on there. But I think the fact that it's right on Main Street in front of everybody, and then we would tie this sign on top of it somehow. But I think we should seriously look into that. And I know the budget cycle's passed, so that would be a next year project. But I think we should seriously consider that. And we're not the only, a lot of towns do it.
So what you're suggesting then, Greg, if I'm understanding you correctly, is if you take this sign design that's being proposed, and then put a black field beneath it, for example, to put a message in as needed, but it would customarily stay then?
So they're digital signs, so you do it on the computer, yeah,
Right.
so it's, the LED lit, and then we would probably have to shrink the sign. You wouldn't want a 50, however tall it is, 50-something inches, we'd have to shrink it down, and you could make it, a lot of places do that. They put their, the name of their town and stuff, town hall, on top of the sign, and then they have the message, they can
Right.
put whatever message.
Right.
And I've been, mentioning this, not every year, but, when I was chief in OEM, I was thinking, we mentioned it a couple times, and then, and I think I mentioned it at least once as mayor, and, we're redoing the park, we'd want it to fit in with the park, or these signs to fit in with the park, but now that we're doing the signs at the municipal building, I think this would be a good time. If we don't want to do it, we don't want to do it, but I think we should definitely consider it.
We have it in our town. I'm in Long Valley, and we have one. I could take a picture of it if you guys want.
And I've looked at the company that does them, and you can make them so they're very tasteful, and it looks like it just, like you said, it's a black field if you don't have a
If you don't
message
use
on
it,
it.
yeah.
But
And if you
it
need
sort
it,
of
use
goes
it.
all, and then
I don't see why we can't do something like that below this sign.
We could augment
Okay.
this one, yeah.
Okay.
You can augment it once.
Okay.
But you'd
Well,
want,
no.
you'd
We
want
did
it
it
in
in
front of the
North
building,
Caldwell.
not where the current.
We did it in North
Not the back
Caldwell.
door.
On Main Street,
Built-
Yes.
That's what this
Um,
is.
Main Street, yeah.
We built a base of bricks and you did it so that it was up higher. And then we just had, the sign wasn't as big as this sign is, it was a smaller sign that was on top of, that went on top of it. So the screen was up and we were able to put a lot of information on it. If there was a wreck like art in the park, we'd be able to put art in the park, and you can have them scrolling.
Right.
Yeah,
So
it's certainly,
it'll-
it's certainly not a bad idea, and we
It'll-
should absolutely look into
It
it.
would eliminate the sandwich boards.
Yes.
I hope.
No, and that's a perfect example, health department's doing, whatever, health screening, if they put that sort of stuff,
So what I would recommend is if we're gonna, if we.
hold off on this
Yeah,
sign.
if we have a consensus on that, we hold off on this, because the width of the electronic sign may be different than this.
Right.
Yeah, that needs to be
That
integrated.
has to be
Right.
integrated in, and it's gonna be costly, if they got electricity down there,
I think we have electricity, because there's lights.
okay.
There's a light on the sign, I
Might
think.
work,
Whatever, but you
okay?
can put low voltage,
Well,
yeah,
electronic sign's
yeah.
gonna need 120.
but anyway, so, all right.
Anyway, yes, we can look at, absolutely, it's worth, if there's consensus that that's what we wanna do.
I think it's worth exploring. I
And
mean,
keep in mind, it's gonna be, it's gonna probably require new signposts.
Yes.
It's gonna be costly, but we can do it. And we budgeted much more than what this is costing to do all
well, we
this.
should, I mean, it's an opportunity now to do it, and I think we should explore it and do it right if we can.
I'll get the information on the company that does these, and,
If you can get that to me, our little committee, Amy and I
Right.
and Meg will
Sure.
explore it. And Nancy and Karen are part of us as well.
Okay.
All right? That having been said, okay, so we're gonna.
I didn't mean to take away from this, but
Not
that's
at
the
all.
perfect time
It
to,
is the right time to do it.
this,
Okay, and this would be higher up, and we'd put something below electronic.
Right.
I wouldn't make it a loud, like a red or something like that, so it doesn't glare.
I think you can change the,
Yeah.
color,
You
whatever.
can change the color, you
That's
can
all.
change
Okay.
anything.
Yeah. So if you want a message to really get out, you put it in red. If it's just a normal, whatever. But,
All right. But yes, I think that's a great idea, and it could look very nice.
Right.
That having been said, so we'll put a hold on that. Or is the council by consensus okay for us to proceed with the 7 entry signs?
Yeah, we'll go with it.
Okay?
Yes.
All right,
Yeah,
so
nice.
we will proceed with that, and just so you can see it again.
Yeah, signs aren't cheap, but it's like they're gonna last, so.
Mark, does it pay from a volume pricing standpoint to get one extra, not post, but sign in the event that one's damaged? We would have it printed at a discount. About 8 signs.
What I might say is if they're gonna print the vinyl, let's get 2 extra vinyl prints of the logo.
Okay.
In fact, you know what? Let's get 3, and we'll put one on the front of the thing here.
Yeah.
The vinyl cost is not nearly as expensive as the full sign cost, correct?
If it's just a vinyl print, it would be rather far less expensive, but that's a good thought.
And we could
But
move this.
but you're not suggesting a full sign, correct?
Correct. Just to have something available.
Or maybe we'll get one of these for here. And the wood post is actually rather costly with the vinyl
Which you
sleeve.
don't need.
which you
I
don't
think that, and then we can remove it, like just so we're need the podium someplace, like in the gym, you take this off and put it.
It's not that's a good idea.
Right.
Okay, so we will, Meg, you got that? We'll add that to our quote. Okay, very good. We will proceed. Amy sends her regards. She's on an airplane right now, but she was absolutely a big part of this, as well as Nancy and Karen.
Meg hasn't been unmuted yet.
What was that?
We're unmuting Meg.
Oh, okay, okay.
Got it, thank you.
Thanks, Meg.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Meg. Anything else you wanted to add?
No, that's it, thank you.
Okay, we didn't hear the beginning. All right, thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
And Meg, listen, you've been yeoman efforts on this, so thank you.
Doing great work, thank you, Mike.
Okay,
All
that's
right.
it, Mayor.
Okay. All right, anything else for miscellaneous discussions and approvals? Seeing none, moving on to reading and approval of minutes. How about we do a consent on all of the
Can we,
minutes?
please?
That was a yes?
One at a time, please.
Okay, so a consent for all of the executive they're all executive and the one regular session meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to resolutions, I'll do those separately. Resolution 15722, resolution to change status of Florence Vital, assistant to the construction of DPW offices to permanent employee. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 157?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Roll call vote?
Councilman Caminiti?
Yes.
Council President Corigliano?
Yes.
Councilman Lemma?
Yes.
Councilman Sweeney?
Aye.
Did I do a roll call vote for the consent?
No.
Okay, that passes. Roll call for the consent.
Councilman Caminiti?
Yes.
Council President Corigliano?
Yes.
Councilman Lemma?
Yes.
Councilman Sweeney?
Aye.
Okay. Resolution 15822, resolution to change status of Karen Van Ness, deputy clerk and deputy registrar to permanent employee status. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call
May I
vote.
have a discussion Karen, I just want to say how happy I think all of us are that you're here. You're doing an outstanding job, and we're really, really.
Thank you.
And
Yes,
he's
that's
not
true.
even sitting next to
Thank
you
you.
like I am.
That's true, we don't like anyone.
Thank you.
You're the first, ever.
Thank you.
You are appreciated.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it.
Roll call vote.
Councilman Caminiti?
Yes.
Council President Corigliano?
Yes.
Councilman Lemma?
Yes.
Councilman Sweeney?
Aye.
Resolution 15922, resolution accepting resignation from Robert Smith, Department of Public Works laborer.
So moved.
Motion, second.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Councilman Caminiti?
Yes.
Council President Corigliano?
Yes.
Councilman Lemma?
Yes.
Councilman Sweeney?
Aye.
We looking to replace him?
Yes, we will put the ad
Work it,
right
okay.
tomorrow into the
Perfect.
league and into the paper.
Resolution 16022, approval of bills assigned and listed on the payment list. Can you please read the amounts in case it's changed?
Oh my gosh. $417,948.20.
Any items that need to be pulled for discussion? Motion to approve resolution 160.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Councilman Caminiti?
Yes.
Council President Corigliano?
Yes.
Councilman Lemma?
Yes.
Councilman Sweeney?
Aye.
Hey, council reports, finance.
And no report this month, Mayor, this meeting, Mayor.
Okay, sanitation and sewer.
Just two things, Mayor. We're still waiting to see if we're going to receive the federal grant to help with the pumping station for staff. And then under sanitation and sewer, I did have the semi-annual Board of Health meeting. The 2021 activity report has been prepared for PEAPACK Gladstone, given to the clerk administrator for filing if anyone wants to see it in terms of activity.
Okay. Borough property.
Just one quick item that's been outstanding. Do we have any updates on scout cabin contractors pricing for some of the work to be done there? Brad, have we heard anything back or crickets?
We haven't dived into that yet.
Okay. That's it for me.
Okay. Fire first aid,
There's no report.
police.
The only report I have tonight is that we swore in our new officer tonight, and we are making progress with the ninth officer coming on as well. I'm hoping to hear from Chief Ferranti in relatively short order that he's got some people for the police committee to meet with.
Awesome. Roads and transportation.
Just one item again, the striping issue, Brad, do we have a date certain
They
now?
were supposed to come this Friday if they had time, obviously that did not happen, so at some point this week they were gonna reach out to schedule either this week or next week.
Okay.
In line with that striping, actually, I checked with the county and they said remember we talked about putting extra delineation to show that you can't park in certain spots on county roads that we have. They said as long as we tell them where we're putting it, they have no problem with it.
That's good news.
Like the one in front of Cocoa?
Wherever, I think there's a few spots besides that, but I know Sergeant Scale and I were talking at some point.
St. Bridget's has always been a problem.
Yeah, I mean, we could work out where, but and I forwarded that email on to the sergeant. So, and the other thing, I know we were talking about on a borough road on Willow Avenue, maybe shrinking the lane with the striping. Have we looked into that at all? Okay, we need to probably, because I got an email from a resident, like, what's the status of that? So I guess if we could, making like the fog line.
The lines create an optical illusion that the road's getting narrower.
Yeah, so from,
The Willow Avenue, certainly coming down the hill into this residential area.
That technique worked when we did it on Old Chester,
Right.
so it's a good
Have we
idea.
heard anything back from the county? I reached out to the county a couple of months ago regarding the corner of Mendham Road and Overlook, specifically that trucks who are coming southbound on Mendham are making the right-hand turn because GPS sends them down Overlook to get to Pottersville Road presumably, and they take out that corner sign, the signpost on Overlook. And the fence, the homeowner there has like replaced the fence a couple of times. And
I have not, I can give the county a call tomorrow.
yeah, let's see, because what we need, I think, on that county road is a little bit of signage that's basically forbidding trucks over a certain size or tonnage to make the right-hand turn onto Overlook.
Well, we would do that.
Or
We would have to-
left-hand.
We would have to make that, since Overlook is ours, we could make a regulation.
Well, the sign would be on Mendham
But we would be responsible for it, but we could pass an ordinance saying.
by ordinance.
Yeah,
They do
I
the
know.
ordinance, but they do the sign.
So we would have to do that.
You know, that issue came up many years ago in terms of, weight limits on roads. I think specifically it came up in the context of Mosley. No, trucks coming down Mosley. I remember Bill Ryan had some issues with doing that, just in terms of our ability to enforce it. Kind of like the noise ordinance. If you don't have, in this case, if you don't have a scale, it makes it more difficult. So all I would say is we just want to make sure that before we go off on that we bring Bill Ryan into it.
There's a rate or ordinance, I guess it's an ordinance, yeah, it's an ordinance, I should know, but in Bernardsville, there's limiting truck traffic on certain roads. Don't quiz me on what roads they are, but it's very simple, the GVW, the gross vehicle weight of the truck.
Right.
That's, whether it's weighs that or not, that's how you do it. So, not the truck weighs, but the amount.
So we haven't heard anything back. I can reach out to the county again and tickle them for a response.
I did not hear anything
Okay,
back from
I'm just
them.
wondering if they reached out to the borough and didn't reach out to me, because I hadn't heard anything back from the
I have
county.
not heard anything from them on that, but I can talk to Bill Ryan also about it tomorrow.
Okay, if you talk to Bill about it, mention it, and I'll tickle the county and see if we can get some action out of them so that we can look at this.
Okay.
Just one question, why does it involve the county? It's our road.
But we would be putting the signs up on the county roads.
Oh, because it's,
Right.
you put it before they
You
make
put it on Overlook, they're
You don't
already
put
on,
it at
they're
the
already
sign.
on Overlook.
Okay.
Right.
Sarge, you look like you were gonna say something.
No, I was gonna go there with the weight limit.
Okay.
I don't know if you can restrict it rather than.
I just remember Bill Ryan had some issues, so I would just
Like
bring him into the
GVW,
loop.
Right.
you know, I thought on Fowler Road, there's that culvert, and there's a sign out there that prevents a certain weight going down Fowler, but I can't remember. I don't wanna say I haven't been down there in a while.
So if we prevent trucks from turning onto Overlook, aren't they just gonna go to Dewey and turn there?
But that's a bigger road. And there's fire trucks on there too,
That's a
so.
good point.
Yeah, it's a bigger road, and they won't take out the sign on the corner. That signpost has gone down in the fence, which is, if you're familiar with that corner lot,
What kind of dam?
it's tiny, it's a postage stamp property. and-
People are in front of the Gladstone Market, they'll have trouble making that left to get to Pottersville.
That's true.
All right. All right, roads. I have nothing under zoning, legal.
Just briefly, I don't know if I mentioned last time, we had only one county tax board appeal. And then yesterday, I spent a good part of the morning online in state tax court on a couple of pending state tax cases. We did have one resident who withdrew their state tax case. And the thinking is from Ed Kerwin, and also speaking to a number of other attorneys that handle municipal tax appeals, because the market's been so strong, we really didn't get many appeals this year because there are a substantial number of comparables supporting the valuations or the assessments, I should say. So in any event, not much activity in the tax appeal arena for PEAPACK this year, which is
Good,
That's good.
good news.
Administrator?
No report tonight.
Okay, Mayor's report, a couple things. We know the flag drop off, and it's almost full. We have more boxes, so that's going strong. That's good. New Jersey Transit, I need to reach out to them. I want to do a public, not a council meeting, but a public meeting where the public can come, like a town hall meeting, so they can explain the wherewithal for the quiet zone. And I had spoken to somebody a while ago from Transit, and just to bring everybody up to speed, the only level grade crossing that might fit the criteria is Park Avenue, because Holland Avenue, there's a station there, so the trains have to blow their horn coming into the station, even if we did all the improvements to the road and to make it a quiet crossing. Then we have 3 crossings in town. The other one is the one in the Gladstone yard, which goes from the main parking lot to their auxiliary parking lot and where their staff parks, and also to 2 residences. There's no warning bells or lights there. And again, that would be a train pulling into the station where they have to blow their horn. So the only crossing that we could probably make it would be Park Avenue, and there's nobody around it. But I want the experts to come in and, so if the public wants to hear what they have to say, certainly explain it. We would be on the hook financially to make all those changes, and they have to be DOT compliant, and it's a lot of money. We think the sidewalk projects are expensive. This will be double that, triple that. So Anyway, so I'll be working to get a town hall meeting with transit. And the last thing is, I just got a letter, we just got a letter, asking us to join the Lackawanna Coalition. It's a group of people that, Mark, you could probably explain it better.
Lackawanna Coalition was formed back in the late 70s because of the poor quality of commuting on the railroad, with poor funding and older equipment and such. And the organizations held on, and they were big advocates for getting the Kearney connection put in place. And they're basically an advocacy group of interested commuters who look to maintain standards, including cleanliness, schedules, et cetera, on the line. We were members of this a few years ago. I guess we just didn't renew it. And I agree with the mayor that we should be a member, and I'm happy to be the liaison to that.
So it's $150 a year, so I think it would be.
Money's well spent by them. They don't pay themselves any salaries. It all goes towards advocacy.
So we'll consensus to join that?
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
That's a reasonable thing.
That's all I have. Moving on to public comments. 3 minutes per person for agenda items only. It's a policy of our council that all public comments on an issue shall be limited to 3 minutes per person. No debating between residents. Comments should be addressed to the mayor and council with public microphone. So anybody have any public comments on agenda items? Is there anybody online?
Nope, no one's online.
Okay.
Mayor, I just have a question. I know I came in late to the meeting regarding the parking at Liberty Park. The mayor and council want to address Rockabye and Comline also with the time and parking restrictions that you're going to do in Liberty Park? If you're going to encompass all
If we were doing park hours, yeah.
Just do all borough parks.
All borough parks.
Thank you. He's got the magic pen.
No, actually, the ordinance does just references all
Right.
parks. It's not specific.
So if we add parks in the future, they're all covered, but we have the pocket park down by the old DPW on Holland Avenue, we've got Lackawanna, yeah. Okay, any other public comments? Nope. Okay, seeing none, closing that. Any further business?
Yeah, I have one more issue I would like to bring up, where I bumped into the mayor in a different capacity just shy of 2 weeks ago, over at Olcott Field at Bernards High School. We had a graduation ceremony for the Bernards High School graduating class of 2022, including 2 of my own boys, who, in spite of my best efforts, managed to graduate. So I wanted to congratulate all of the graduates of the class of 2022 and wish them not only an enjoyable summer, but the best of success going forward.
Yes, it was a great ceremony. I was working it with the police department, and it was great. And I don't know how you felt being a graduate there, but I was rather moved. 39 years prior, I was walking onto that field, so it was, it brought back some nice memories.
Very strange, but the kids did a great job, and they're a wonderful group, and the parents and the teachers, and just can't say enough good things. So congratulations to all, because none of this happens by accident.
Yes, congratulations to all of our graduates. And I think more kids ran around the track at graduation than they do in gym class. Because apparently the high school has recently, I guess they have a tradition where they take a last lap around the track and they all run. And having watched gym classes when I've worked at the high school, like kids are not running, they all ran. So, yeah, it was a great night. Weather was great. And
somewhere to go, I bet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they had project graduation, so they all went someplace. So, any other further business? Seeing none, motion to adjourn? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Next meeting will be, we only have one next month, July 19th at 7 PM. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Well done, Mayor.
Sorry.
You know what, actually, I'm going down, probably I'm going down Friday.
Right.
I didn't have time this weekend to get it done.
Right.
I did have time. I'm friends with, but I didn't have time to.